FreshPod is created for industry professionals and is intended for educational purposes only. This content is not designed for patients or consumers.
If you're providing a service and you're growing and your clients are coming back, you're obviously doing something right. And so if you're doing that and you're growing organically, that's when you go, okay, well, now that I'm super busy and I've maybe got a dermal therapist, like I'm ready to take that next step. So you don't have to feel so overwhelmed. And yeah, every time you hire someone, it is scary because you don't want someone to not have the same values as you, or you want someone you can trust, that's your baby, and you want them to provide the same service you are. And I just think those decisions shouldn't be taken lightly, but at the same time, at some point, you've got to take a leap of faith.
Hey guys, and welcome back to FreshPod. I'm Liz McGlynn.
And I'm Dr. John Delaney. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest and most nerve-wracking questions for injectors. When is the right time to grow your clinic?
Whether it's your first staff member or a $100,000 investment in a new device, growth can feel really overwhelming. And with business being new for so many, it's hard to know where to start.
In fact, our 2025 State of Medical Aesthetics report showed that 64% of clinic owners don't feel confident making major investment decisions. But if you wait for total clarity, you might never take the leap.
Today's guest, Heidi Bryant, knows that moment well. She's grown HB Aesthetics step by step, and she's here to share how she decided what to do first, who to ask for help, and how she made it all sustainable.
So Heidi, welcome to FreshPod. We're so pleased to have you here. You have been part of our community for a long time. We're an admirer of your work. We're talking today about when to grow and some of the steps to take when you're trying to build your business up. There's so many chicken and egg things to consider there, right? And in some ways, it's like trying to raise a circus tent, all poles at once, and everything's important. But what came first for you as you build? Is it hiring more staff, or do you invest in a new device? What do you take on that?
Well, thank you for having me. It's nice to be here. Yeah, it's a definite chicken and egg kind of scenario, isn't it? But I think if you'd asked me that question when I started versus where I am now, it'd probably be a different answer, because when I first started, my kids were 5 and 7. I was probably prioritizing that and just sort of working where I could and all of the rest of it. And so at that stage, which I guess a lot of people will be like when they first start out, right? And so I think when I first started, it was definitely more about thinking about what client base you want to target and what are your clients already sort of after. And I think my first scenario was buying a microdermabrasion machine, a little skin needling device, something like that. And I started small, just provided the treatments that I thought that I felt confident with and that I felt comfortable with. And then a couple of things that also helped me with skin health. And that's something I'm a big believer in. So I think having those two things was a really easy scenario. Picking the things, try not to go too big too quick. I think that's a really important thing. Like, just block out some of the noise and really pick some of the things that you really, really love and that you're good at. Master those. Get your clients on board with all of those, and then you'll naturally find what's next. So I think it's, in the early stages, I definitely think it's nice to have a couple of devices, something that doesn't overextend you. And then the rest will flow from there once you get busy.
And there's so much noise around. There seems to be a new device every month. There's a new product launch every couple of months. How do you navigate that noise, and to what extent do you seek patient feedback before taking the plunge on a new device?
It's everything. Absolutely. I think my decisions, I'm a bit of a slow and steady sort of decision maker, but it's served me well so far. And I think that you have to listen to what your clients are telling you. That's the most important thing. There's no point going out and either overextending yourself and buying some fandangle device that you've seen 3 other people have and you thought, I want that too, and then your client base isn't interested in that, or it doesn't serve what they're after, then you've kind of then taken yourself down a rabbit hole that you didn't need to go down. So I think listening to your clients, and if you listen enough, it'll be quite funny, and it always happens in one day. All of a sudden, like, you'll have like 15 clients or so 10 clients, and 8 of them will say the same thing. They'll be like, oh, my neck's bothering me, or my lips are bothering me. And they'll all say the same thing, and you go, that's funny. And like, there's a day for it. And then you'll go, okay, what service do I provide that helps me with necks?
Yeah. Yeah, I like
and
that.
if you don't have something that helps you in that avenue, then that's where you start looking. Okay, I need to look at X, Y, and Z that help me with necks, and then I'm going to research each of those, and then I'm going to test each of those, and then you'll go, ooh, I love that one. That one works really well.
I like being led by the problem first, because there is a tendency when meeting with reps or being at a conference to see a lot of solutions that you then try and find a problem for. But the way you've described it is keeping your ears open, listening for the problems that your patients have, and then working out what the solution to their problem might be.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And when you talk about like listening to your patients and then doing the research yourself and starting slow, and then you're looking at maybe bigger investments, is there anyone else that you lent into to get their support or advice? I mean, you've obviously got suppliers that are going to provide you all of the information, but what about like mentors or other people within the industry? Like, what did that look like for you?
When I first started, it was actually really hard. Like, I think, where were you guys when I first started? Where was Fresh? Like, when I started a long time ago, you weren't around. So I had to do a lot of research on my own, and I had to sort of sift through a lot of things, and the access to that wasn't easily available. And so I think I was lucky enough to have a really good relationship with a couple of reps, and they really supported me, and that kind of led me to different outcomes that I decided on. And I think having those resources is really important. Find the people that you gel with, and that you have a rapport with, and research from even people in the industry that you love. We've got social media, which is hard for us in this industry at the moment, but there is people you can follow everywhere and get information from that. But ultimately, coming back to you have to listen to what your clients are asking you for to make that right decision. But Fresh have made it, super easy for their members. And man, if I had the Fresh around when I first started, it would have been so much easier. You've literally tied things up with a nice little bow for everybody.
Oh, that's good to hear.
At Fresh Clinics, we help members make smart, supported business decisions. Whether you're hiring, investing in a device, or planning for growth, you'll find tools, support, and business mentorship available inside the Resource Hub. Visit Fresh Clinics to find out more.
Interested that you mentioned that your business, or the role that your business plays in your life, flexes according to your lifestyle needs at that time. Young children, or kids in high school, or kids left home is a totally different phase of who you can be as a business owner, but also what you need from the business in terms of finances and how far you can stretch. And you did mention that sometimes those devices can extend someone's finances. On a previous episode or another episode, we've had Meg Reed on talking about P&L and managing that. How in your business do you weigh up the risks and benefits of investing in a machine or a device that may tie up income, or may tie you into a contract with a company? How do you work on that and sort of return on investment questions?
Yeah, I think you mentioned before that reps will tell you what you want to hear, and that you learn that the hard way. I think like you get excited about different things that they tell you. I think asking the right questions, to the reps about, how many treatments do I have to perform? How much does a treatment cost? What are the consumables that come with that treatment? And then how many treatments do I have to perform in order to even just break even on this device? These are all things that I definitely learned. I didn't know any of that stuff. I was a nurse in a hospital before that, and, I wasn't a business owner. So those lessons come thick and fast when you first start out, but you do learn. And if you take it slow and steady, you'll make the right choices, and you might make a few wrong ones, and that's okay too.
I think everyone definitely will.
Yeah.
Right. And the key there is being self-reflective in your practice and working out when you have made a misstep, and you will, and we all do, where was your decision making? Could it have been improved?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the questions that you ask are vital. Like, I think, this industry is completely changing every second. So, you're always learning and you'll never stop learning. But asking the right questions is really an important step. How much, I think that was probably one thing that I wish I had done in the past, was ask a question that kind of, I guess, bit me in the butt a little bit. But, I bought a device. It wasn't cheap. And I got excited. I'd researched behind it and whatnot, but I knew that I saw talking about it at a conference, and I got starry eyes, and I was like, I want that device. And I didn't ask that many questions about, warranty or training or things like that. And I guess some of those things did crop up as extra costs as time goes on, and you go, damn, I wish I'd asked that question. And then 6 months later, they brought out a new device that superseded that one, which is fine. The device still works great and whatnot, but I was like, damn, I wish I'd asked more questions.
It's a thing, that's a cognitive bias that I suffer from, that I work hard on, is I get excited by shiny things, and then I confirmation bias, for those who have looked at the sort of biases that people suffer, is an easy thing to fall into, where data points that support your worldview, which at that time is starry eyes, I'm excited, I want that thing to work, they all get absorbed, and the ones that don't support that worldview, you kind of push aside or you justify, right? You're like, oh no, that won't happen to me.
For sure.
But it's important, I think, to always, if I'm not good at it, I surround myself with people who are better at it and can go, yeah, but what if this happens, or what if that happens? And sometimes the opportunity cost of your time is a thing that we don't weigh up enough, right? So you get a shiny new device, it's expensive. You've then got to treat so many people to break even. What could you be doing instead? And maybe that's a better thing for you to be doing with your time, because none of us want to make just the device manufacturers money. Like, we've got to be sustaining our businesses and growing and so on.
Absolutely. So you make a good point with the, it all comes back around about, chicken and the egg. When you asked about hiring or device, that kind of coincides, right? Like, you could potentially, which is what I actually, now that I think about it, ended up doing in some respect, when I had that growth and I had gotten to the point where I was servicing clients, but it was getting harder to fit everybody in a day, and I didn't want to dilute the service I was providing. I still didn't want to be spread thin. I wanted it to be still a great service. That's when I kind of went, okay, well, what am I doing in my practice? And I am providing skin treatments at the same time as doing injectables, and I was kind of doing both things. And I'm like, well, where am I better served? Being a nurse, I am better served doing the injectables, and I do love that as much as I love doing the skin. And so I bought a machine that was a bit more expensive, but it was for skin. And then I was like, oh, well, actually, if I spend an hour doing that, is that a smart business move? No, not really. But I loved doing it. But I then started to go, okay, now I have to get a business head on and stop being so emotive, as nurses we are. And you have to go, okay, well, if I hired, which is what I did, I hired an amazing dermal therapist, and she had heaps of experience, legend on the tools. And I then started paying her to work for me, and her she then did the skin services. And then what happened was I had a really lovely bridge between the two services, but I was also being able to service my clients well. Nothing was getting diluted, and that freed up a lot of time. And then it kind of obviously progresses from there, and then you then hire another person and another person. But
It's interesting and ties really well into some of the people leadership conversations that we've been having as well as part of this series.
yeah.
Because it sounds like you had a good experience in hiring around the sort of quality of person that you needed to make sure that your business kept delivering the services that you'd worked hard to build, that reputation that you worked hard to build.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, a point that you raise about setting those clear goals about what do you want your business to give back to you, because growth for growth's sake isn't always a good thing. If you've set your business up so you can spend more time at home with your family, and then you go and spend a lot of money on a machine and you've got to work that machine to pay the debt on the machine and so on, all of a sudden the lifestyle that you'd set up for yourself, you're back to square one. You're stressed and money's tight and so on. So being conscious of that, I think, is an important thing as well.
Yeah, super important. You you constantly changing, constantly second guessing yourself. That's normal, I think. You know, you kind of go, I have prioritized work over my kids, and then you get the mum guilt, and then you go, oh damn, okay, I'm going to now start focusing on the business more, and then something will happen with the kids and you go, oh my God. So you're feeling constantly torn all the time. I think bringing a team around you when you can, when you've grown in an organic way, and if you're providing a service and you're growing and your clients are coming back, you're obviously doing something right. Yeah. And so if you're doing that and you're growing organically, that's when you go, okay, well, now that I'm super busy and I've maybe got a dermal therapist and I've got I'm ready to take that next step. So you don't have to feel so overwhelmed. And yeah, every time you hire someone, it is scary because you don't want someone to not have the same values as you, or, you want someone you can trust, that's your baby, and you want them to provide the same service you are. And I just think those decisions shouldn't be taken lightly, but at the same time, at some point, you've got to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll work out and sometimes it won't. And that's okay too, because I think that's when you kind of got to go, okay, well, put my business head on. Okay, I'm really lucky. I've got a beautiful group of girls around me now, and, but, that doesn't always happen, and you have to kind of go, okay, I think it's important to set up really clear boundaries with people. That's something else I've learned. Like you've got to set out contracts, say what you want from them, and make it all very clear at the beginning. I think you can then run into less problems as time goes on.
Yeah.
And as I said before, I'm quite emotive, so I'm very emotional, and so sometimes that didn't help me as a business owner. But I think now, again, you learn from it, and I've made some great staff choices, and they're beautiful girls, and they have the same values. I think that's really important. They want for their clients what I want, or their patients, and I always make sure that people shadow me when they first start so that they can spend a couple of weeks learning how I do it. I think consults are everything. So spending that time doing the consultation, and
it's funny listening to you talk. There's things that you say that I think, regardless of what industry you are in, we are. JD's spoken about this on other episodes. This is a female-dominated industry, and there's so many things and themes that you're saying that I think any woman could resonate with. Maybe JD as well. And one of them is, there's always going to be something. You're always going to be growing and learning. It's going to be hard to balance, especially when you've got kids and you're trying to wear all the hats as a business owner, trying to wear all the hats, and you don't just grow overnight. And that's something that you've mentioned a few times. If you look back to the Heidi, that was first entering this industry and being a business owner, what are some of the biggest lessons that you think that you have learned through a lot of growth and success as well?
Yeah. Two probably biggest ones, I guess, I can put my finger on. Obviously, the first one is like staffing. Yeah, for sure. And I think I've already covered that, like just with what I've said, just being able to just, you have a good, I think most people have a good gut feeling about people when you meet them, right? Everyone's got different personalities. You either gel with them or you don't. And I think that you meet people, if they've got the same values, put them on a trial basis, test it out, and then you'll know whether you've made the right decision. I think that's really important. And however long you want to make that test period for, I think it's really important. Then you can see how they work, because someone can meet you and make a really good impression, and then they might come into your clinic and you go, hang on a minute, maybe not. So I think that's important. The other big lesson, I think, is just like I said, baby steps. I think don't overextend yourself, don't race too hard, and block out the noise. I think I did in the early stages as well. You're always like, oh my God, that's new. And even now, more so than ever, there's so many things on the market. You're going, I really need that. Oh gosh, now I need that. I think stay in your own lane, put some blinkers on. Obviously, you want to be keeping up to date with the education side of things, but if you educate yourself with all the tools and you put yourself in a big position that you can then go confidently, I back myself. I know that I'm doing a great job. My clients love me. My clients love the service that I provide. And you block out some of that noise, I think you'll end up being a way better injector, but more importantly, you'll be a way happier person.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing for me. Like I get anxiety, like about, geez, am I doing enough? Like still now, I've had my own business for 9 years and I'm still going, gosh, am I doing enough? I think it's human beings.
Yeah, the clinics that I know that seem to be the most confident are actually the ones that say no to a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think that breeds a level of confidence when you can know what's right and what's not right for right now.
For right now.
You don't have to take on every little thing that comes along, but when you do have that capability to then have a list of options that you might explore, taking your time as you quite well put, that helps you to get the blend right.
At Fresh Clinics, compliance and patient safety are clinical foundations and are at the centre of everything we do. We provide structured medical oversight, audit-ready documentation, and robust drug book and inventory systems, all designed to align with regulatory expectations and uphold standards of modern healthcare and aesthetic practice. Our hybrid healthcare model empowers nurse-led clinics to deliver care with confidence, knowing their systems are clinically sound and fully supported. To learn how we help clinics operate safely, compliantly, and sustainably, visit freshclinics.com.au.
When you're choosing to introduce something new,
Yep.
what are the other sorts of things that you think about?
I think you have to trial things as well. I think it's obviously what your clients want, what you want is the most important, but I think you have to trial things out. I think that's reasonable. There's 4 different products or 4 different devices and they're all the same, and you're going, which one's the best though? I want the best one. And they all say I'm the best one. And so how do you make that decision is probably obviously research and doing your own research, and not just research on Google that just says, yeah, we're the best. I think it's having actual backing of papers and clinical papers. I think that's important. But trialing things out, that's kind of the fun part as well. You get to, trial things out within your staff and go, okay, what's a really good product and does it work? I cannot sell something that I don't actually see results for or do not believe in. Like, I am not a salesperson predominantly. I am a nurse, and if something does not work, I cannot stand there and go, no, do it. It'll be great. I'm sure it'll be fab, and that's it's not genuine. And I think that's why my clients or our clients keep coming back, is because they know they can trust us, and you build that rapport because they know they haven't been lied to or they haven't been led down a path that doesn't bring them results. Yeah.
What about when you're potentially looking to bring on a new treatment, a new service, like you're looking at a device. You spoke about doing research and trialing things. Sometimes we hear from members, you might have engaged with a supplier and you don't want to waste their time, and so there's this little bit of a pool of like obligation, or that you have to do it because you're exploring it, or then perhaps there might be some kind of contract potentially, and different circumstances. What would be the advice that you would give to someone who is seeking out a new treatment or device, and like what would be your non-negotiable in terms of maybe questions to ask or things to do?
Yeah, I think that's actually not necessarily a scary thing with when you first decide you want to start asking questions about something with a rep, but it's also like sometimes a little bit annoying because you ask a question and then all of a sudden 10 reps are calling you and like calling you 50 times, and you think, oh gosh, why did I ask that?
Which I guess they're just doing
their
job.
job,
Yeah,
100%. So, but that's something I've learned. Like now I don't get flustered by it, but in the start I did. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm horrible. And, and now you just go, you're a business owner. Okay, what is best for my clinic? I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions to a whole different bunch of people and be honest with them. I am looking for a device, something like this. I'm going to contact a bunch of people to ask the questions. Can you send me the information that you have? What is the return on investment? What is the warranty capabilities? What training do you provide me? And then, gosh, AI's around now too. So put in say you've got 4 devices that all do the exact same thing. Well, they say they do the same thing. And then ask the reps, then plug in a bunch of information that you have got and ask it to compare them for you. And in 30 seconds or less, you will have a bit of a comparison as to what's good. And then you can then go, okay, this one seems like it's going to align with my business a little bit more. I'm going to ask this rep a few more questions. But never feel like I don't think you ever should feel like pressured into anything. I think you have to be confident enough to just say, I'm really sorry, I've decided to go in a different direction at the moment. That doesn't mean that I won't be ready in another 12 months to go down that route.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I was a rep myself for, over 10 years in this industry. And it's much the same to your point about being emotive and wanting to be helpful and support your patients. It's much the same for a lot of these suppliers who do just want to be really helpful and do want to provide a really good service in what they do. So it's not dissing the suppliers, it's just what can you look for that's going to be most beneficial for your business, and be okay to say, that's just not the right device for what I need right now.
Well, ended up I have a device already, and because my rep has been so helpful or has been so great, and now I trust that device and I trust that person, I have now gone on to purchase another device by the same people because because of that relationship. So yeah, they're not bad guys.
Yeah, totally.
You've just got to ask the right questions.
Totally.
Yeah.
Great advice.
And in many ways, I think it's easier in a business-to-business relationship than a personal sales thing, right? If the answer is it doesn't work for my business right now, great, nothing personal about that. And so it's kind of like this get out of awkward situation free card. So you can, certainly I would encourage people to feel confident about asking the questions to make sure that a device suits them and their business goals.
Yeah.
And being pretty deliberate about that.
I think you as a business owner, it's really reasonable to have 2 heads, or 2 hats, I should say. Don't take your head off. But 2 hats, and you have your business hat, you have your nurse hat. And it's really nice to be able to take that, I'm in a nurse hat, and take that off and go, yes, today I'm the business. And I've gotten way better at that as I've gotten older, and that just comes with time. But then you go out of work and then there's about another 50 hats that you've got stacked on top of your head. So
I reckon there's about 50 business sub hats on the business hat.
True, you're right. You're 100% right. Yeah.
And just thinking a little bit about that decision making that we touched on earlier around staffing and devices and which comes first and how do you weigh up that decision? Let's say someone's growing their clinic and they're finding themselves in that situation that you were in where they're seeing their patients, but maybe only just, and they're feeling a bit stretched. And they're thinking, maybe there's more revenue to be made with another device, or maybe I should be thinking about getting another nurse on and we can do more injectable treatments. What sort of things would you encourage them to be weighing up in their mind as they think about that decision?
Yeah, I think you have to be a bit more get an accountant hat on, like as we just sort of talked about the hats. I think you have to think about from a financial point of view what's going to work for you. Do you play well with your toys? Do you like sharing a space with another person? That's really important. I am a people person. I actually don't like working on my own. I love having a team of people around me. It makes me feel more confident because I can bounce things off them, but I just like people.
Yeah, and works
I like
more
talking.
fun. Yeah.
And so I think you have to weigh up that. I think that's super important. Like if you don't play well with your toys and you like your own space, then think about how you can even, here's an idea, like you can even like rent your rooms out when you're not there.
Yeah.
So there's ways around it, but I think I sort of said it before, but you can combine those two decisions. I think it's always going to be a help or benefit when not outgrown your space, but you're so busy that you've got, not enough time to service all of your clients. I think if you have that as your problem, I think then that's when you go, okay, I'm ready to hire somebody now.
Yeah.
I think that's
Do you think it's a feeling as well?
absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's not always just like practicalities that's on a list. Sometimes you just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to go with your gut a lot of the time,
Yeah.
I think, in this, or I do.
Yeah, nurses are great at that.
I think so.
You've got such a deep skill set of reading people right from that hospital training. You walk into a 4-bed bay and you've got everyone's number immediately.
Yeah, and you have to figure out where you're going to spend your time. And that actually 100% plays into this field as well. You kind of have to figure out where you want to spend your time, where you want to, like I said before, do you want to spend more of your time on your skin? And that's okay if you do. Or do you want to spend more time doing the injectable side of things? I got to the point where, I had both of an injector and a skin therapist. And then I went, dear Lord, I actually can't keep up with my own, like answering phone calls. And, I don't want to have to at the end of the day, have to get back to a bunch of people that have called and left messages. I might be losing revenue from that stream. And it was back when we had paper files and I asked a client, I was whinging and complaining about something and her and I got along really well. And I said, I need to go digital. I can't be doing this paperwork anymore. It's driving me nuts. And she goes, I can put it all into a digital stream for you. No worries. And I was like, are you sure? Thanks. That was done. When she did that, I was like, I love her. I need her. And she's still with me now. And she's our clinic manager and does all the answering of the phones. And she literally keeps the clinic running smoothly. So that is invaluable because I think, people look at, I need another person to do the injecting or do the dermal actually hands-on. You could be losing revenue because no one's answering the phone or getting back to people quickly. I mean, once your clinic is humming, and quite busy, I think that's a really sound investment as well. So
it reflects a little bit, I think, on what you were saying earlier in this conversation about letting the problem surface and then finding a solution for that problem.
Correct.
Rather than thinking, I should hire somebody. And then trying to find a problem for that person to solve.
Yes.
It's sort of around the wrong way, right? Yeah. It sounds like you're doing the right thing in taking a beat, taking a minute, letting the problem surface, and then knowing exactly how to solve.
I mean, I always thought that I'm a very slow decision maker when it comes to the business. I always thought that was a bad thing or a problem, and I've realized more recently that actually it's a really great thing. Or for me it is anyway. I think the way I've made decisions has led me to the business that I have today. So it can't be a bad thing, right? It's So I think it's not a bad thing to take your time making decisions, be methodical about it, don't rush in, stay in your own lane, all of those things. And also having the right people around you. So that might not necessarily be just your team, like I mentioned, like hiring clinic managers and things like that, but also having a really good accountant, somebody that you can talk to and bounce things off when it comes to financial things that you might be way over your head and you're like, how in the world am I going to figure this one out? If you've got someone you can really talk to, that's great. Fresh members, I'm just talking from experience that I've got now, that's really nice, especially for somebody that doesn't have a team like myself. If you're on your own, a single operator, and you've been able to have other members that are in the same boat, you can bounce questions off them. You can ask things. That's an invaluable tool to have. And then, literally in the last couple of years, as things have gotten really busy and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed again, I've recently reached out and now I've got a business coach. And so she helps me not only personally, because I need coaching in that too, but she helps me when I've got big decisions to make and it's somebody other than your team or your personal partner to bounce decisions off, and she makes really sound decisions and sound advice that's removed from that situation, removed from this industry. She's not in this industry, but she can see from outside looking in, so she's giving me really great clear advice, and that's really invaluable too, I think.
Super valuable. It's easy to get caught up in the buzz and the chaos and the noise.
Yeah.
And so to have that safe harbor where you can go and get some external advice from someone who might see it differently and they're not caught up in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
Maybe they can just see a little bit further and that could help.
And they can help you within your own business. Obviously, they learn more once they talk to you. And you have a really emotional relationship with your staff or your clients because you see them every day. And, sometimes you might be like, oh, this tricky client, or and it's really stirring me up. And then to be able to have somebody to go, this is what's happening, and they don't have any emotion involved in it at all. And they can objectively go, well, you already know the answer, Heidi, X, Y, Z. You already said it yourself. And it's just having somebody to go, I've reassure you that you are making the right
walking into that trap again. Yeah, we've covered this before.
Talked about this 4 times, Heidi. Why are you doing it again? Oh, damn. Yeah.
We've heard that theme a few times in a few different ways, but it's leaning into your people and also just reminding someone to remind you that we're all just human.
Absolutely.
That's another really big part of it as well.
Yeah.
We have 2 more questions. Do you want to ask this one? And then I'm going to ask a rogue question.
Oh, yes. So the theme of this conversation has been around clinics that are ready to expand. Although we've ranged into a few other topics and that's been great. Just distilling that down, if there's a clinic that is ready to expand, they're feeling that feeling, what's the advice that you would give them if we could distill that down to just a point or two?
Yeah. Going back over everything that I've kind of said, I guess the key points would be that I think it's really important to educate yourself, be really sound on your knowledge and whatnot in your industry, then picking the services that you love but you're also really good at, making sure that marries with the client base that you have, then going, okay, is there gaps in what my clients want versus what I've got to provide them, figuring out that, then going, do I expand, hire a staff member? I think it's methodically going through step by step, slowly, and making sure, and if you tick off those boxes as you go, once you get to the point of taking the plunge of buying a device or expanding with a new staff member, using all those resources we've talked about, having those people around you, if you make all those decisions, your clients are still coming back and they value what you are doing, then you are ticking all the boxes and you are making the right decisions. And then you can feel really sound and comfortable in that decision to take that step forward and take that plunge and expand. You have to at some point, back yourself and know that even if you do make a mistake or you make a decision that you then go, man, that probably wasn't the right avenue, it's be humble in it and just admit that you've done something that didn't serve you well and go, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to pivot and I'm going to go forward in a different direction.
I think also like your patients come to see you because they trust you. And so you should trust yourself a little bit as well in the process.
And they will feel that.
Yeah.
Your clients will feel. That's why I say like nail down the things that you like doing and that you're good at, because when you love what you're doing, you have confidence in what you're doing. Your clients feel that. You're doing a consultation and I'm like going through right back from, why we decide to do something and how the muscles move. That client's going, wow, no one's ever told me that before. And you go, yeah, that's because I'm good at what I do. And and it's okay to kind of have those thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying this, I'm still teaching myself that right now. It's okay to admit that you know what you're doing and that you're really good at it. Like, I think that's, it's
Super.
forever. You constantly second guess yourself. But, at some point you've got to really give yourself a pat on the back and go, I know what I'm doing. And my clients clearly love what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So take that plunge and,
Go
and go for it. As long as you take those methodical steps first and make sure you're not going from, I've just done a course and now I'm just going to open a business and I'm like sweet as, and be a bit like, nonchalant about it. I think it's important to just know where you're at and learn from people around you and take slow steps and grow slowly. I think you'll never take a step wrong then.
Absolutely. Heidi, I've loved listening to you speak about your business and your growth. The one question I want to ask you, what's something that you're really proud of when you think about your business from its inception to now?
Wowzers, that's actually such a hard question because of the things I just said to you. It's really hard to boost yourself up. I could tell you how amazing you are, but it's hard when you try and talk about yourself. But I think I have to give myself props for how well the business has grown in a relatively short amount of time and the loyalty of my clients. And that's not just from me, that's also from my staff, but I hired those staff. I think I've hired a really beautiful team that I've surrounded myself in. We've then got this amazing loyal client base, like loyal. They have been coming to me since I started. And then now we've recently, bought a clinic, bought a space and made a beautiful space to be in. That was the cherry on the top for me. Like all of those little things I am now really proud of. Yeah.
You should be. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, congratulations. And it's great to chat about the thoughtfulness that you've put into the decisions that you made. I think a big takeaway from me is that the solution comes at the end, not at the start.
Absolutely.
And so you've been pretty deliberate about that, and that's a really good takeout that I've had from this conversation.
Yeah. And like you, Heidi, we talk about the members within the Fresh community and a lot of like-minded people like yourself that are growing businesses and making decisions. And we try to provide as much additional resources and support in both our resource and training hub. We've got some amazing webinars and other bits that people can lean into and listen to learn more about how others have. But yes, Heidi, takeaway from me is like do your research, but also like go with you, like listen to yourself and trust yourself and back yourself. Like I think without even you maybe realizing it the whole time, you've sort of said that that's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. It's been an awesome conversation.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for having me on. It's been an absolute delight to have a chat to you guys.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you.